Hi and welcome back to the Shabalicious TV. We've had a bit of feedback since our last video around making the appliques, and there's been a whole range of questions about how to make moulds and so on as well. What we thought we'd do today is just give you an insight to the creative process. Today what we just want to show you is in terms of the creative process where inspiration comes from. We actually found this little old wall hanging in a second-hand store, and we picked it up for $1. It in itself has seen better days. It's a bit corroded and knocked around and so on. But what we did see though was the opportunity and I guess to create something beautiful as a result of this. So nothing's ever wasted, nothing's ever lost. There's always an opportunity to give something new life. So what we have done is we've used this to cast a mould so that we could actually make beautiful appliques, which is the rose stem, which is an exact copy of this copper article here. And I'll just quickly step you through how we did that and just show you how we made this beautiful applique. First up, once we found this little treasure, we just went down to the local hardware store and picked up some aluminium right angle extrusion. And what we did is we just cut this to place on here to enable us to make the silicon mould. So this was just cut up into the various pieces here. This is fairly roughly, I'll show you how we did it. And then we just put these little clamps on to hold those extrusions on when they're in the right place, and then cast the silicon mould using a product called Pinky Seal, and I'll just put the details of that in the information box underneath this video. So once we successfully cast the mould, this was the end result that we achieved from it. So this is the silicon mould, which was the cast of this little treasure that we found in the second-hand store. So once we cast the mould, that then enabled us to go ahead and create appliques which are going to be on some of Bee's creations in the near future. In fact, this one is going to be showcased on a very, very special creation which we'll be showing to you in the next week or two. Something that we're very, very proud of in terms of raising the bar and making some very, very beautiful things. So just to step you through the process again, we use the Barnes Easy Cast resin, which is available here in Australia anyway from the Barnes stores, and again I'll put the links below the video, which, just to refresh your memory, was just an equal part A and part B mixture to make the resin. And as you may have recalled if you saw the last video, it's a very fast setting resin which literally sets in just a couple of minutes. So let me just quickly mix up another batch. What we've done here when we created this little applique, probably can't see it there, but we've just written on there what the volume is to actually fill the mould to make the new applique. So for this particular one it takes 60 millilitres. So here we go now with the mixing. It's a simple two-part process, part A and part B. And once we combine the two parts, we've only got a fairly short time, a couple of minutes, to mix it and start the pouring before the setting process starts. So let's just get that process underway. So part A, let's put all of the product in there, and now add part B in there, and let's mix it up thoroughly so that we get a good consistent resin mix which sets with a very consistent colour and doesn't leave any residue behind. So there we go. The part A and part B is underway. What I like to do when I mix these together too is, even though we've measured out how much we need for this particular applique, I always like to mix just a little bit more, just for a little bit of insurance, because, you know, with the measuring process it's not necessarily exact, but I'll show you what I do in case we do have a little bit extra left over. So let's just start that pouring process now. So just gently fill it into this mould. Now the mould is a little bit tricky in that there's lots of high parts and low parts to the mould. So we just make sure that we fill in all of those little pieces and let the liquid do that. And then just duck down here to some of the other pieces just to make sure that we fill the mould completely. So here we go. As I said, you've only got a few minutes to do this before it starts to set. So you have to be speedy, but not speedy and reckless. So that's just about done there. And as you can see, I've got a little bit left over. So what I'll do is I'll just pop that into another mould that we've done. Not enough to fill it, but just the same, it's better than having it sitting in the bottom of the container. You never know when you can use these little bits and pieces on different creations. So as you'll see here, this will start to set in a moment, and before you know it, we'll have another wonderful applique. So let's just keep an eye on this, because people love to watch this stuff setting, and then we can show you the end result, which turns this rather innocuous little thing into something really, really beautiful, which is that. So here we go. You can always tell when it's working because the heat starts to generate from it. And here we go. In terms of the product, we use pinky seal to make the mould. And here's the container that it comes in, so PINKYSIL. And again, it's very similar to the resin process in that it's a two-part, part A, part B, which are just equal parts. And you just mix it together, pour it into the space that you want to take a mould of, and hey presto, you end up with a good quality silicone mould like this, which you can use over and over and over again. So with this particular mould here, already we've taken about 5 or 6 casts of this to create this lovely little rose stem, and lots more to come. So it's a little bit of a cooler day today, so the resin's taking a little bit longer to set, but as you can see, it's now starting to solidify, particularly in the deeper parts, and then it'll gradually spread out to the shallow parts of the mould. Well, welcome back. We've given this a couple of minutes now just to cure properly, and as you can see, it's a nice white colour and still fairly warm. When they first come out of the mould, it probably takes a good, I don't know, we always like to allow a good 24 hours to really cure properly. I mean, they're certainly workable after probably 20 minutes, half an hour. But anyway, let's just take this one out of the mould. Now, this one has, just by virtue of its nature, is fairly delicate through this part here, so we just need to help it out gently. And we'll just help it out of the mould. Last little bit. There we go. So there's the mould, and there's our beautiful new applique. As I said, when it first comes out of the mould, it's a little bit squishy, so just put it on a flat surface and let it cure. As I said, we normally let it cure for probably a good 24 hours, and it gets nice and strong. And there's the contrast with the other resin, similar type of resin that we use, quite fast setting, but a little bit of a different colour, whereas this one's more of a white colour. When they do cure up properly, we just trim up some of the little bits and pieces around the edge, and then it's literally ready to go. So just a quick recap. We found this little treasure in the second-hand store, paid $1 for it. Out of that, we boxed it up with a piece of aluminium extrusion. I've got that at the hardware store. That cost me about $3 for that. Clamped it on with these little clamps, which form part of another mould that I have. So I guess in reality it didn't really cost us anything for those, because we already had them. Turned that into our pinky sill mould, and to make a mould like this, it probably cost us probably $8 or $9 for the cost of the pinky sill, and that results in a wonderful applique like that. Now, if you're looking for something like that on, say, Etsy or somewhere on eBay or somewhere like that, well, first up, you won't find another one of those because it's unique, but something like that you might pick up for, say, I don't know, $25 US. So when you look at what it's cost us, you know, we've made the mould where we can repeat these, and as I said, we've already made about half a dozen of these for some of B's creations, which we're going to showcase shortly. So really good value and also good fun. So hope that's been of interest, and we will see you in the next video where, from my perspective, we will take you through how to make these moulds in a little more detail. Again, all good fun, and turns your day very shabalicious. See you in the next video.